My name is Lisa, and I'm a project partner at EcoAdvance, and I have Bruno here with me. Could you please introduce yourself and tell us about what you do?
Good morning, Lisa. Thank you for your kind invitation. I'm a biologist having 25 years of experience in freshwater ecology with a focus on river restoration. I'm a member of the Italian Center for River Restoration. I was the former president some years ago. And yeah, in this intervention, I would like to focus a bit in a large restoration program in the Venice Lagoon catchment, so the drainage catchment of the Venice Lagoon. And my role in this experience was mainly involved monitoring of success of restoration together with other university. But feel free also to ask me about the situation of river restoration in Italy
Hmm.
because I would like to give some input about that.
Yeah, thank you. But I think this project sounds pretty interesting with the monitoring of the success, because that's also something that EcoAdvance, the project, is doing as well. Could you maybe tell us more about the drivers for the project and some kind of like legal requirements for the project in general?
Yes, in this case, it was not, for example, the Water Framework Directive or some mandatory obligation of restoring river, but the main driver was a big problem in the Venice Lagoon. Eutrophication lead to extensive phenomenon of algal bloom, and this affect, Venice is Venice, so also the tourism and in that case, this lead the authority to adopt a special regulatory framework and also to made available a lot of resources to reduce eutrophication. So, starting from 1999, I just finished my study part of my life, and I was involved in this pilot small scale intervention concerning restoration of lowland rivers, artificial canal, wetland, with the idea of reducing the input of nitrogen and phosphorus reaching the lagoon. So in this case, the main driver for restoration was to reduce the input of diffuse pollution to a closed system, which is the Venice Lagoon. The idea, the concept was to reduce water velocity, to increase the relationship between aquatic vegetation, water pollution, microbial community, soil, to intercept the runoff, and as final result to reduce pollutant. But in the same time, the authority who manage this project are hydraulic authorities, so they deal with flood events, and so they get the opportunity to enlarge river, to create more room for water, also to reduce problem related to flood risk. And this is the main interesting, I think, point of this project. The first experience, the first pilot application were successful. They demonstrate to be win-win solution, and so I would say that now is a sort of consolidated and routinary best practice applied at basic scale and also in the long-term perspective. So any new intervention is more or less based on this approach. And that's why it's interesting because it's a long story of more than 25 years and is still ongoing.
Maybe one question that just came to my mind is because you said you just finished your studies when you started the project. So maybe you can tell us a bit more about your background in general, like what you studied before and then how you got to the job.
Yeah, I studied first in Parma and then in Bologna University in Italy. Bologna is also a crazy town, so I take more than expected to finish the university. I like animal, plants, biology in general, and I think as all the students, when you finish your study, you are a bit confused on what to do. And so for me, it was a big opportunity because my teacher, my thesis teacher in Bologna, asked me to support her in monitoring this intervention. And so this was, I like this project also because probably it allowed me to do freshwater biologist, freshwater ecologist, and after that, I am always working such a kind of proposal and monitoring. So yeah, in some way I follow all the process behind this program from the beginning up to now.
Mhm. Mhm. So lots of experience. So getting back to the project that you just talked about, can you tell us a bit more about some challenges maybe that you've experienced while implementing or planning the project?
Yeah, so from the technical point of view, is nothing particularly complex. It's mainly to enlarge river and to create a new wetland where in farming area to restore existing wetland both in stream and downstream, and to yeah also to adopt a different way to manage aquatic vegetation in this area. Before this project, the main practice was to cut all the vegetation 100% 2 or 3 times per year because yeah, the only scope was irrigation and and drainage the area. So the idea was to change this, and we met some cultural barrier, and this is
Mhm.
normal because since Roman time this area was drained and there was a reclamation area, and the idea was to take new land from the water, from the sea, but also from the fresh water for to be used for agriculture and humans. And now we go to propose something that was completely different, and in some way we want to return land to water. So obviously there was an opposition, and you have to explain very well why and you want to do that, why you don't cut every day the vegetation, why you want to put water in farming area, etc. So in this case, you need also to have a good communication strategy behind the implementation. Yeah, just to provide you some figures about the project. Up to now, every year around 60 tons per year of nitrogen and 3.5 tons per year of phosphorus does not reach the lagoon because of this restoration intervention. In the same time, around 2 million of cubic meter of increased water storage capacity, so the territory is more resilient to flood event. And in terms of yeah ecosystem, we create around 220 hectare of wetland, 45 kilometer of river and artificial canal were restored, and around 15 kilometer of riparian buffer strip have been done. And this affect an area, as I said, strongly with big presence, strong presence of humans, and around 500,000 of people have a new recreational opportunity, and the landscape in this area is significantly improved because of this intervention.
It's pretty impressive. I think one point that you mentioned with the change of land use, so basically the land was used before for agriculture and so on, and then you propose a restoration project that would take away kind of like the farmers, the land. It's something that a lot of other restoration projects are facing as well. It's this whole thing of like economic value versus ecology. And this leads me to the next question is since you had this project and these specific things that you had to overcome and the challenges, are there any results or experiences that you think might be transferable to other projects?
Yes, as you said, mm, it's not something really special what we do, but and I think so it's transferable to most of the lowland area, not only in Italy, because buffer zone giving more room for river are quite well-known
Hmm.
technical solution. But this area, as I said, is Venice Lagoon, so is quite specific. For example, the new regulation create the condition to buy land more easily than in other area for public priority. So in this case, the approach that one of the main problem for river restoration is to have land for restoration. In this case, the authority buy a lot of land, so directly buy the land for restoration. I think these approaches are hardly transferable in other area with different regulation and also different price of land. So I think this experience is transferable for the technical point of view, but the situation was quite particular, and this has to be taken into account, yeah, for replication.
Definitely. Also for the whole scale up idea. Okay, so to maybe come to an end slowly, in your experience, what would you recommend someone wanting to implement a restoration project to do as a first thing, as a priority?
Yeah, thanks for the question. I live in Italy and work in Italy, and we are few river restoration project if compared with I think most of the other EU countries. So I'm not sure I'm the right person to suggest which is the solution. I think in Italy the main barrier are still cultural barrier. It is still believed that the approach based on implementation of large hydraulic work and also very strong management of rivers, sediment abstraction, building strong works, cutting tree and plant, riparian plants, etc., is the best solution. And after each flood, people still want this, and the response is to build new embankments, etc. And also, in the last year, a lot of artificial water retention area, which is not real giving room to the river. So the situation is this, but in the same time, there are some good, I hope, signals. For example, there is a big project, a large project, more than 300 million of euro for the Po River in Italy, and the focus of the project is to reconnect all the disconnected side and lateral arm of the river and to restore floodplain, etc. At the same time, the last 3, 4 years, we have some good example of dam removal also in Italy. Um, and so we hope that the approach is slowly changing and that we are going a better use of nature-based solution and river restoration to solve a flood risk problem. But the process is going very slowly. I hope also the input of the new net restoration law can support us to have a wider implementation of this.
Yeah, I think you're mentioning this showcasing best practices and showing the benefits of nature-based solutions, for example, compared to like traditional infrastructure. Something that's really important. And I think not just in Italy, but in general, that we can give as like a recommendation from your side. Um, so
Yes.
now that you gave us some recommendations, what to do you also have something what you should avoid, maybe what to not do?
Yeah, I think sometime when we want to restore a river, we are too shy. We want to do something, but we are not convinced at all. So we do some small scale, I would say, cosmetic intervention, and the result is that we waste money. At the same time, the river restoration became scarcely credible as solution for big problems. So my suggestion is to be courageous, ambitious, and I think we need big, not only the scale but also in terms of duration, big program of restoration, IT investment, and we have to design things in the way that river in some way go toward their own recovery, which is the best strategy to obtain good result in terms of restoration. So, okay, pilot small activity in the initial, but now we have a lot of knowledge. We need to implement monitoring and have an adaptive management, but we need ambitious initiative and program, both at national, I think, and the EU level.
Thank you. I think if you have anything else to add, otherwise, I would say thanks, Bruno, for the interview.
No, thank you, Lisa, and I will follow your interesting project.
Thank you.